What's up, everyone? Welcome to RotoGrinders NBA Crunch Time. I am your host, TJ Zwarich. Got ourselves another TWT weekend ready to break down some NBA. Joining me first up, I got Will Priester, the Chief. How you doing, Will?
Oh, pretty good, TJ. Definitely a eventful Saturday for me. I'm just basically, not too long ago, I'm coaching basketball. We're in a tournament, so. But glad to come and talk about even more basketball with the listeners and the viewers. One of my favorite sports, not only for DFS, but to play, obviously. And so glad to come on and hang out with my good weekend friends.
Joining us as well, he's going to be hanging out with me for Crunch Time again in the morning as well. It's perfect. Right now, I got Tim, I got Will. In the morning, I got Tim with me. In the evening, tomorrow night, I got Will with me. It's just a great weekend with my guys. Tim, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well, TJ. Always good to see you, and always good to see Will as well. I don't see Will as often as I feel like I used to, but I mean, hey, it's always awesome to do a show with him. Yeah, I'm doing double duty tomorrow. It sounds like I'm going to be doing the People's Show at 9:30, and then going to be doing Crunch Time with you at I think it's at 12:15 noontime, something like that.
Yes, sir. Doing Crunch Time at 12:15 Eastern Time. We'll lead the people right all the way up to lock. But today, we're talking about some NBA. It's not NFL time quite just yet. And it's a pretty fun slate, but I'm going to be honest. I have no idea what to do yet. Like, we got 5 games on DraftKings, 6 games on FanDuel, but we're still waiting on so much injury news that, like, the only real big name we're waiting on is Jokic. There's Trey Murphy, but there's so many rotation pieces still listed as questionable that I feel like are going to drastically impact the value on this slate. Tim, give me your overview. What are you looking at for tonight's slate?
Yeah, I mean, we've gotten some of the news, but yeah, like you said, Jokic is the one that was really like keeping everything in the balance here. That's very, very important. If you were to miss Jamal Murray and Joe Valanciunas would end up being like absolute like core must play plays. So I mean, it's kind of like you want to build your teams. There's plenty of value in other places, but it's like that's kind of hanging over us. So I mean, you've got to play. You've got to figure that into your lineup construction tonight. So that's super important. We are waiting on Trey Murphy. That is not nearly as important as Jokic, but it's still pretty important. And then a whole bunch of stuff for Phoenix. Mark Williams, Grayson Allen, still questionable. Ryan Dunn. I mean, that again, these guys individually are not humongous, but add them together, and that ends up being somewhat important for that whole Phoenix rotation. So there are some things here that are, kind of hanging in the balance. And but I mean, the only one that I would be kind of altering in like my entire construction for would be this Jokic situation.
Agreed there. Will, how are you planning? How are you attacking this slate? How many lineups you playing? You going to play FanDuel or DraftKings? And how are you going to handle all this news we're still waiting on?
Playing FanDuel, and I'm just going to try to build but make minor adjustments, if that makes any sense. So I'm trying to decide if I'm just going to build for Jokic to play or Jokic to not play. Like, even before we get the news, there are if I prepare for him to not play, then I feel like I have more options later. Does that make any sense? Like, I could flip-flop a Jamal Murray and, Cooper Flag or something like, you get what I'm saying? Like, I can make some more 2v2s if I prepare for him.
Too, that I was kind of peeking at is like, say you plan for Jokic to be out. You also still have the buffer of, in that same game, Mark Williams potentially being out. And so say you don't get Jonas Valanciunas, but Mark Williams is out. Well, then you have Nick Richards, or then you have Oso Ighodaro, somebody like that. You kind of get the dual options in that one of not just one guy, but 2 guys could potentially be out.
Yeah, for sure. Love that call.
All right, let's start diving into it. We will go position by position on FanDuel. We will follow with DraftKings after the fact. I feel like we're kind of right in between. There's only 5 games on DraftKings. I don't think we need to do the game by game approach, though, especially considering that there's so many of these that we are still waiting on news for. So we'll start going position by position. We'll do DraftKings first. We'll do FanDuel second. But if we get, Jokic news, Trey Murphy, anybody else that is important, like even somebody like a Terrence Mann is actually really important today because Brooklyn is already down so many bodies. And so we'll cover those situations as they come up, but we will go position by position. In the meantime, DraftKings, FanDuel, followed by questions. If you got questions, throw them into the RotoGrinders live stream Discord chat. Go to the YouTube chat after that. I will be going Discord first. I'll be going YouTube second. YouTube, just make sure that you smash that like button for us. Help us out. Help us battle that YouTube algorithm. Take your mouse, slide it over, give it a little click. If you're on your phone or tablet, you got to hit the X on the chat. You got to hit the hide chat. Then you can hit the like button, pull the chat back up after the fact. Tim, I will throw it to you for DraftKings point guard first. This is a kind of a weird spot because I feel like there's a bunch of salary saving options I want to go to, but then there's also Cade Cunningham, Josh Giddey, Devin Booker, 3 guys that I really, really like today. Can't believe Devin Booker doesn't get shooting guard eligibility. I know he brings up the ball, but give me my shooting guard, Devin Booker. How are you?
I know, right? He's so much more valuable when he's got shooting guard. But yeah, I mean, there's a couple different ways that you can go about point guard today. And I think, if you want to pay up for who I think is one of the best raw point plays on the entire slate, that's Cade Cunningham at 10-3. I mean, he's currently in our first optimal. I think he's a fantastic play. Like, yeah, the Heat are good defensively, but they also play at the fastest pace in the NBA. So, I think this is a fantastic spot for Cade. We've seen him. I mean, he's just doing everything right now. They put up 74 last night, 63 the game before that. I mean, this is a fantastic spot. So, personally, I think you can start off with him. He is not an absolute must though. So I mean, same kind of thing with Josh Giddey, 9,800. No Kobe White tonight. So I mean, this is a really, really good spot for Josh Giddey. I don't think Giddey is cash viable, but I think that he can definitely be part of your GPP pool. So I in the mid range, I do like Andrew Nembhard quite a bit. The problem is, if you load up too many of your guard spots early, you can't really get to Jamal Murray, who we have to talk about, because if Jokic were to miss, Jamal Murray would be a core play. So you have to really be paying attention to what you're doing with that guard and utility spot here on DraftKings, because Murray might end up being a super, super important play on the slate. Like, you can play Murray anyway. I was talking to Stan in YouTube chat before the show got started. Like, is Murray okay now? And he's okay. He's okay now. We have projected for 40 fantasy points at 8,600. But if Jokic were to miss, he would be an absolute smash play. So I would just be paying attention to how many guard spots you fill up here. So that kind of takes me out of this like mid-range. I'm going to be interested to see what the field does with TJ McConnell now that Indiana is a little bit healthier. He's only projected for 20 minutes tonight, but at 4,500, that's pretty darn solid. But again, do you want to fill up those guard spots? And then Tyrese Martin, he's point guard, shooting guard. We'll talk about him at shooting guard. Definitely cash viable, but I would just focus him on the shooting guard spot.
Will, how about you? Point guard on DraftKings. We got just a plethora of options for how small the slate is. Who are you going with today? Oh, Cobb, go absolute elite mute usage for the Cobb.
That's a big mute right there.
That was professional.
I had to give caution before giving some analysis. So sorry, everybody. Like, you're talking about all of these people that are like kind of missing, and like I'm looking on DraftKings, I like, who do I want to overpay for and who do I not want to overpay for? In my head, Brandon Podziemski should have a good night tonight, but I feel like he's a little overpriced. Like, I just don't want to pay that for him tonight. So when it comes down to it, it's a lot of these cheap guys. Like, is Brooklyn going to get blown out? Probably. But do they have a lot of value? Yes. On the top side, it's probably Giddey for me at 9,800. I really like him quite a bit in this Indiana game. I'm with you on Cade, though, Tim. And I don't think anybody's been a bigger Cade DFS fan than I have over the last 2 seasons when he's been healthy. I just like to play him almost every night because he typically goes under-owned. He's not going under-owned tonight. But in a general sense of the word, if you can get Cade, he's safe, healthy, no question marks right now. You talked about Miami playing the fastest, one of the fastest paces in the league, Tim, and that's a big deal because this is also a team that's played at one of the slowest paces in the league for a while. And so when you get on with that information, it helps you just make better decisions. So I really like Cade. One last one that I want to bring up, it is Jamal Murray. And I think it's Tim, I think you said it best. He's fine right now. He's great if Jokic is out. And that's what I'm talking about. If I'm talking about building without Jokic, what I think I'm doing is I'm playing Jamal Murray right now, and I'm playing a JV as an example, and then I'm giving myself room to get to Devin Booker and let's say a Nick Richards or something like that if Mark Williams is out. Hopefully that makes sense. And I know I'm talking a 2v2 swap, but I think that's really important for this slate to leave yourself some room to possibly get to Devin Booker and someone else if Jamal Murray is out, or James Harden if you decide to play him.
All right, take us to shooting guard.
Take me to church. Shooting guard is getting interesting today for me because how do you feel about, and I know I'm asking questions, I think Benedict Mathurin is like right at that price where I think he's sneaky today. I think he's going to get a fair amount of shots up. I like Podgy more on FanDuel where he's 5,800 at shooting guard for what it's worth. So I think I'm going to play him there. And I know we're talking DraftKings, but I do like Podgy more on FanDuel. I'm okay with Will Richard. Will Richard. I'm okay with him with the injuries. I'm okay with AJ Green. If Trey Murphy is out, then it could get interesting in New Orleans. I don't want to play Norman Powell. I think Benedict Mathurin and Ayo are probably my guys in that same game, but I do like some of these other pieces here that are going to be cheap today.
Tim, I so badly wish I could just play any number of these point guards at the shooting guard spot because it sucks in comparison. We got Mathurin and Martin projecting for.
It's all the cheap guys, though. To me, this is where you get the cheapies from.
Yeah, but there's even like McConnell, Alvarado. Like, I'd love to be able to just mix those guys in with some of these shooting guard spots too. Tim, where are you going here? Do you like it more than I do?
Yeah, I don't really love it. I will say that I do agree with Will on Benedict Mathurin. I will say though, he's not going to be sneaky. He's going to be extremely popular, but he is a fantastic play at 6,900. So I absolutely do love him. He's pretty close to a core play for me here. He kind of underwhelmed last night for us, but I think we can go right back to him. I still think that he's way too cheap. So I do love him at 6,900. Tyrese Martin, you're 100% playing cash games. Personally, this is the type of slate where I think I would be playing Tyrese Martin in 3 out of 3 if I was playing a 3 max tonight. He's somebody that I'd be trying to get overweight here. 3,700 is just too cheap for him in this spot. So he's definitely a play that I'd be getting heavy exposure to for a salary saving option. Tyler Hero is, I think, super interesting for GPPs. We're only projecting around 5% ownership. He's 8K. He has not been getting, huge amount of minutes, but he did get up to 32 last game, and he put up 50 fantasy points. So, I mean, at 8K, at 5% ownership on a small slate like this, I think it's fantastic. So I do like Tyler Hero. Don't forget about Colin Gillespie, especially since we don't really know about that whole Phoenix situation. We have him projected for 24 minutes right now, but he could easily play more than that if some of these Phoenix guys sit. So don't forget about him at 6,500. So I think he's pretty interesting. But yeah, I mean, I don't think shooting guard is anything fantastic, other than I would be getting to a ton of Tyrese Martin here.
Love the Colin Gillespie call. That was somebody that I'm looking to bump up his projection. As you can see, this is my DraftKings stuff on the screen right now. I haven't done my exposures yet because I'm waiting for a little. I just really want this Brooklyn news. I'm hoping we get before lock. I want to know what's the deal with Terrence Mann is, because if he's out, I probably just lock button Tyrese Martin if in 150 lineups if Mann is out, and I might get to somebody like a Ben Seraph in that case as well. And so I do want to keep an eye on that before I hammer in my exposures. But I love the Gillespie call because, as you can see on the screen, I bumped him up to 32 minutes just in case, because he's somebody I'd really, really like as well if we happen to get some of those wings out, like a Grayson Allen on Phoenix. Can take me over to small forward.
Yep. So Jarris Walker at 4,200. I think he's a very, very strong value play. I think you could play him in cash games. Maybe not quite like a core play, but pretty close. Like he's definitely a very, very strong points per dollar play. We did lose Jaime Jaquez, so I think Norman Powell at 7K is okay. Like he's nothing fantastic, but I do kind of like that game for GPPs. So it's definitely an okay play in GPPs. Peyton Watson, we have him projected for 34 minutes. We have him projected for close to 28 fantasy points, and that's with Jokic in. I would imagine that he would be due for a few more points here if Jokic were to sit. And so again, he's a really strong play right now. He'd be an even better play if Jokic were to sit. So I do love Peyton Watson here. You can't play Kuminga tonight. He's a game time decision anyway, but I really just don't think that you can conceivably play him just because the minutes just quite aren't there. I think Dylan Brooks is a decent play at 6,400. But really, small forward here is nothing great. And that's why I think Norman Powell is somewhat interesting tonight.
Yeah, Powell and Brooks, two guys that I don't have in my pool right now, but absolutely could put up 40 plus DK points and make me feel like I am screwed at that position. I'm just considering hitting the lock button on a Jarris Walker like I did the other night, even though that went poorly for me. Chief, how about you? DraftKings small forward, who do you like?
Really, it's a lot of the same guys. I think I'll throw Asar Thompson in there just because of the game environment. If you want to play AO at small forward, you can do that also. That's mostly who I would add just in terms of extra pieces that you haven't talked about already. Small forward on DraftKings, Jonathan Kuminga is technically the most expensive one. That tells you kind of what we're dealing with here. So I just don't have much to throw into the pot on that position now. I guess I would say Sadiq Bey probably vaults up if our boy is out. I think Sadiq's going for 40 or more fantasy points, I think, past 3 games, and
Yeah,
He's
what's going on with this
5,500.
dude? He's
I
just
should have
incredible.
mentioned Sadiq Bey. I forgot all about him. I was looking at Peyton Watson at that same price. They're pretty interesting between those two. Sorry, Will, I didn't mean to straight up interrupt you there.
We're good.
But I should have mentioned Sadiq Bey. I still think that I might like Peyton Watson more, but Bey is certainly in the conversation.
Yeah. If Murphy sits, I probably go Sadiq Bey on DraftKings. The other thing about Sadiq Bey too and Peyton Watson, you can play either of them at small forward or power forward. So technically, we could get them both if it swung our way.
Yeah, a very good point. And yeah, Bey obviously looks really great if Murphy's out, but fine even in the case that he's not out anyways. Weirdly just crushing it lately. Who'd have known? Sadiq Bey absolutely lights out.
Yeah.
Chief, power forward on DK, who do you like?
Sadiq Bey? I'm kidding.
That's it. End of list.
So how good is Jimmy Butler going to be tonight against New Orleans? Like that's the question for me. Like, can Jimmy go vintage and really pile it up here? I don't know, but I think I'm willing to push it a little bit. Is he a better play than Pascal Siakam tonight? Probably not. But I'm willing to take a little bit of risk with Jimmy in a game where we feel like should be good enough for him to perform adequately. I think Jimmy could go for 50 plus in this spot. I like Jimmy Butler. And weirdly enough, Jimmy is only power forward eligible on DraftKings. Inner stage left, Giannis Antetokounmpo, one of the most expensive players in the state. One of them, not the, but one of them. But, I mean, a matchup against Brooklyn, limited minutes, could still, absolutely destroy this team. But I don't think it's worth it. I think I'm going to stick with Jimmy or Pascal at the top. In the mid-range or semi-mid-range, you got Noah Clowney, who, these 5K guys, these weird 5K guys are just really going to be soaking up a lot of my ownership. Bey, Clowney, Watson, that grouping is probably some of my favorites on the slate, guys. Now, I'm not talking about those are some of my favorites on the slate. Really like them quite a bit. Not to overlook Jarris Walker, who you can also get at power forward, but I think those 5K guys are fantastic.
Agreed. I'm kind of surprised Noah Clowney was a guy that I really like, and I'm surprised he wasn't going for a ton of ownership today because he was super popular on a bigger slate yesterday and basically the same spot.
And can I mention something? It looks like I caught something from Craig L. Would Jimmy get up? He's air quoting here for a game against the Pels. Craig, I understand. That's what I'm saying. I'm taking a little bit of risk with no Curry and him just possibly having to carry the load, and no Kuminga possibly. That's really what it comes down to. Who is going to shoulder the load for this team? It's got to be Jimmy Butler.
Makes sense. Tim, how about you? Who do you like at power forward? How do you feel about Isaiah Stewart, a guy that we're currently projecting at the 5, but I feel like it could end up actually being Paul Reed?
Yeah, I mean, Isaiah Stewart, if he starts, is a fantastic play at 4,900. If he's in the starting lineup, he's your cash game guy today. I do think power forward's super interesting here. Pascal Siakam, I slightly prefer over Jimmy Butler. It's pretty close between the two. But those are your two spend up guys. But like I said, I think I'm going to be leaning Siakam. I love the Noah Clowney call at 5.5. Really interesting pivot off of Stewart too, just because it looks like Stewart's going to be around 40% right now, and Clowney's 13. So I think that's a really, really interesting GPP pivot up there. So do like him quite a bit.
Make sure I get more. I bumped up his projection.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Definitely for GPP. Same thing with Peyton Watson. We talked about Peyton Watson. I think he's a really elite pivot off of Isaiah Stewart too. So, I mean, that's what makes power forward so interesting, is because we have the safe floor play with Stewart, but then we have these really good, spend a little bit more money and get off a lot of ownership there. So, and I do think Draymond is someone interesting as well. But I'm going to go lower to Clowney or Watson. So yeah, definitely. Oh, and then don't forget about Jay Huff tonight, 4K. He's power forward. I think he's only center on FanDuel, but he's got power forward center on DK at 4,000. We have him projected to start right now. I think he would be a fantastic play if he does in fact start. And same thing with Jarris Walker. I think Jarris Walker is probably better served in that small forward spot, but both of those guys are really fantastic plays. Rank Clowney, Watson, and Walker. All right.
So
That's
Walker a
pretty
bit
good.
of a different price tier, but like though just straight up Watson and Clowney, I think is a really interesting conversation. And might as well add Bay.
Yeah, you should probably add Bay into that group as well. I still see my feeling is that Jokic sits tonight, so I'm just kind of bumping Watson up everywhere just so to make sure that I get him. So just the way that I'm reading it, I'm ranking Watson 1 there, Clowney 2, Bay 3, and then Walker. But if you have the Jokic situation read differently, then I could definitely see flopping Watson and Clowney, putting Clowney number 1.
All right, take us to the center spot.
Yeah, so no one's going to be playing Jokic tonight at 13-4. So I mean that's an interesting play right there if you want to play that he's in. And then if he's out, make sure you have a 2v2 set aside or something like that. But I mean he's a super interesting GPP player at the top. I'm not personally getting to him, but I just think he's interesting. Terrence Mann upgraded to probable today.
I can build.
Yeah,
I can finally build because I know about Terrence Mann.
Yep. And then so just make sure that if you do play Jokic, make sure you have a 2v2 set up for Joe Val because he would end up being the best value on the entire slate. It won't even be close. He's 3-3. So yeah, just make sure that you can swap onto him in basically any kind of build that you do because he's going to be super, super important. And then center gets really weird after that. Like you can play Vucevic at 81. You can play Nick Claxton. I think Nick Claxton is super interesting. He was popping all over optimals earlier in the day. I'm not sure if he still is, but I think Claxton at 6,500 is a really strong play. I talked about Jay Huff. That you could take shots on him in center. I don't think center is so amazing here that you can't do that today. So I think Jay Huff is super interesting. Same thing with Isaiah Stewart. He's got center eligibility as well. If you find yourself wanting to load in some of those other value forwards, you can play Huff at the center spot. I think my favorite, like again, you need to be leaving a spot for Valanciunas, but I think my favorite center right now is Nick Claxton.
I like it. I'm getting some Claxton tonight in tournaments as well. Not a ton, but I am.
Can I just say something really quick too? Mark Williams is questionable, so that's another situation. You talked about that, TJ, correctly. Like you could make if Jokic does play and Mark Williams sits, you can always pivot to Nick Richards if you leave that $100 available on your team because he is 3,400, not 3,300. So Iguodala is right there too. I'm not sure who would start between those two. It's pretty close, but Iguodala is 3,300. So I guess you don't have to leave that $100, but one of those two would end up being a really strong value play if Mark Williams were to sit.
Agreed, 100%. Chief, how about you? Who you getting to at center on DraftKings today?
Yeah, I think that's an important one, Tim. I'm going to go back to that because I did talk about that a little bit in terms of what I had going on, but I'm planning to kind of have a Jamal Murray, Jonas Valanciunas swap, but I'm going to leave enough money to get to Devin Booker and Nick Richards or something. You get what I'm saying? Like either way, if either of the centers sit, I've got room to get there. So I'm building with that in mind. And then at the bottom end of that, like you mentioned Jay Huff, who's in the earlier game, but you also got Quentin Post, who's picked up some minutes. So at worst, Tim and TJ, if I leave enough room to kind of get there, I can make like a Booker Post swap if both play, and I haven't killed myself. So that's how I'm planning to build. I'm going to have one of Post, JV, or Richards, and one of Murray or Booker. But the rest of my lineup, I'm going to build to leave wide open, if that makes any sense.
Tim, are you going to leave a center or utility spots open in cash for that situation?
For that Valanciunas, that situation?
Yeah.
Yes, I am. Because I think he's sitting. So I am leaving that. I am.
Looking at it right now, and just the build that I'm getting to has basically everybody in those early games, and I love the way the lineup looks for if Jokic plays. But if Jokic is out, I'm going to feel pretty terrible about not having that flexibility. So I think I'm definitely going to have to do some adjustments here. We'll make the pivot over to FanDuel. Get your questions in. Get them into the YouTube chat. Get them in the RotoGrinders live stream Discord chat. It's free to join. All you got to do is hit the link in our description to join over there. And speaking of links in our description, it's perfect time to get yourself access to our Combo Pro Black Friday deal. Users will receive RotoGrinders Combo Pro plan for the price of a single sport for their first 3 months. That's only $74.99 a month for your first 3 months. After those 3 months, it will renew at the regular price of $119.99 per month. Offer is valid until December 2nd, so you still have a few more days, but you might as well get 3 months of Combo Pro for the same price as a single sport. Or if you're just playing NBA, but you're still relying on box scores, you're already behind. Shot Quality gives you the most predictive data in basketball, breaking down every shot to show what should have gone in, not just what did. Right now, you can grab a free 3-day trial just by heading to the link in the show description. After that, it renews monthly for $39.99. Don't play blind, play smarter with Shot Quality. Let's make the pivot over to FanDuel. Will, I'll throw it to you first here. FanDuel point guard. We got one more game over there, over on FanDuel than we do on DraftKings. We got the Dallas game at the end of the slate, 10 p.m. Eastern time, Dallas against the Clippers. So it does add a few more options here. Let's start at the point guard position on FanDuel. Who do you like?
Was unmuting myself yet again, TJ. A lot of the same guys. Like I said, one of the things I want to mention is in terms of Podsy, I like him a whole lot more on FanDuel than I did on DraftKings, where he's 5,800. So I did want to specifically talk about him. He's someone that I'll probably play at the point guard position there. I'm still on board with Cade, even though he's a little bit more expensive, just slightly. Still fine with Giddey, obviously. That's kind of my group. I like those guys quite a bit.
All right, Tim, how about you? Who is the cash game option over on FanDuel today? Who do you like in tournaments?
Yeah, so we've already got a question about him, but Ryan Nembhard on FanDuel at 3,500. He's likely going to be your cash game guy today. Absolutely too cheap. I think you could still play him even if he doesn't start, because we are getting that added game, the Dallas Clippers game on FanDuel tonight. So I think Ryan Nembhard, he's like your cash game guy. Tournaments. Obviously we can keep playing Cade Cunningham at 10-6, like just same thing on DK. Absolutely love it. I think James Harden, don't forget about him on FanDuel tonight, 9,700. Colin Gillespie, he's a point guard only now on FanDuel, 6,300. I talked about him. I do like him a ton tonight. Ryan Rollins on FanDuel at 7,500. He's pretty cheap, so I do like him quite a bit. And then Jamal Murray, he's point guard, shooting guard, 8,700. Probably a little bit too expensive if Jokic does play, but I still think that you can play him either way. And then good call by Chief on Pajemski at 5,800. Probably better at shooting guard, but still, you can obviously play him at point guard.
Getting to an absolute ton of Jarris Walker today, and it's worth noting that he is not in the starting lineup. And so Jarris Walker will be coming off the bench. Pacers are starting Nembhard, Shepherd, Mathurin, Siakam, and Huff. So bumps me down on Jarris Walker. I'll still get a lot of them, I'm sure.
That bumps me up on Huff, though.
Up on Huff for sure. Yeah, up on Huff, down on Jarris Walker. I'm going to be getting to a little bit less of him than I was. I was getting over 50% before, and so I'm going to bump that down a little bit. But Tim, take us over to shooting guard on FanDuel.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a ton to add. Mathurin at 7,200, I think, is fantastic. Trey Jones at 5,300 is okay. I guess he was point guard also, but yeah, Trey Jones is fine. Trying to see if there's any like just non-point guard shooting guard here. Cooper Flagg, 6,700. I forgot to mention him at point guard. He's point guard, shooting guard, and small forward. I think he's decent at 6'7". Pajemski, I think, is probably your cash game guy at the position. Tyrese Martin, 4,300. He's shooting guard, small forward. I do like him. I think Terrence Mann, same price. Probably going to play for a couple more minutes than Tyrese Martin. So I think Terrence Mann for a value piece is interesting. But again, the pay up options, again, Harden, Giddey, maybe Booker as well.
All right. Chief, how about you? FanDuel shooting guard.
Yeah, so I am with Tim. Like, if you want to play Podsley at shooting guard, like, no problem at all. I mean, I like him in both spots. So I got no qualms with that. I'm fairly interested, man, in Booker. Like, I like Booker today. I think it's a great spot for him if you want to spend up. You can get him at either spot. So perfectly fine with him. I think, and I know I mentioned Will Richard and company. Somebody from Golden State still going to have a good game. It might in fact be Moses Moody, but let's go with Moses Moody. I think Moses Moody may still be okay, even with Kuminga playing. I'm not too worried about him. Once again, back to Ayo on FanDuel at 5,100. I think he'll be fine as long as the minutes are there. I think he's got a shot at a really, really high up tempo game or really competitive game. What should be competitive, even though the Pacers are without a lot of pieces. So I like those guys quite a bit. And then, of course, if you want to get in some of these guys from Brooklyn, be my guest because they're cheap still, even on FanDuel, and will probably be worth every penny, even in the blowout.
All right, take us to small forward.
Small forward. Give me at the top of this list. We don't have anything on Trey Murphy yet, right?
Nope.
So here's the deal. Sadiq Bey's 6,300 on FanDuel, and he's let's call it overpriced. I still think I'm going to play him. I'm going to pay up a little bit to be different on FanDuel, where he's probably getting, I don't want to say virtually no ownership, but not as much ownership as he would at the $5,500 tag. I just still think it's a really good price on him. I wish Jimmy Butler was at the shooting guard position here. I mean, at small forward. Yeah, on FanDuel, he's at small forward.
Mark Williams out.
Oh, that's great, Tim. This is getting better and better.
Ryan Dunn is out. Not that that's huge, but again, that's another rotation.
So Nick Richards is like about to become almost a must play. And that's fine.
What I'm going to do now is I'm going to play one. I'm running 150, I'm going to play one of Nick Richards and Iguodaro in every lineup. And then if JV is out, I will switch all of those Iguodaros to JV. Or sorry, if Jokic is out, I would switch all of those Iguodaros to JV. I think that's how I want to handle that.
I don't hate it.
I like it.
Sorry, Will, continue at small forward.
No. I don't hate it at all. So, yeah, I was just kind of talking about Jimmy Butler and him being 8,400 on FanDuel. I like that quite a bit. So that gets me very excited. I think I mentioned Moses Moody at shooting guard also, but you can also play him at small forward at 5K. So yeah, I like those guys quite a bit.
Tim, who do you like at FanDuel small forward? And before we even get there, I kind of want to pivot back to DraftKings for a second. And now that we got this Mark Williams news, say we don't get Valanciunas news, or sorry, we don't get Jokic news before lock. Are you still holding a spot open for Valanciunas and potentially trying to play Richards and Valanciunas together?
Yeah, I think most likely your route to go is to play both of them together in cash. And yes, I do think that you should be saving a spot still for Jonas Valanciunas. So yeah, I think you should still be saving a spot for him. So yeah. And I don't think that we're going to get the Jokic news before the slate locks. So yeah, I think you're going to have to be prepared to kind of make that pivot.
All right, FanDuel small forward. Who do you like?
Well, I think Jimmy Butler is definitely like your cash game core play today at 8,400. I do like Trey Murphy if he plays. Norman Powell at 6,900, I think is very, very strong. And I forgot Matt Mathurin small forward also, so I do like him a ton. PJ Washington's fine at 6,800. I'm trying to see if there's like any like real like pay down options other than Tyrese Martin. I don't think there really is. So it's like Martin and then one of Butler or Mathurin, I think, are the best plays.
All right, take me to the power forward position. I find it interesting how so before somebody was asking about Giannis Antetokounmpo, and I think there's been a few questions about Giannis Antetokounmpo in cash. I was originally thinking, no, absolutely not. On this minutes limit, I have no interest in that. Now I'll be interested to see what you say on FanDuel, but on DraftKings, I'm starting to wonder, maybe he is if I all of a sudden get Valanciunas and I get Nick Richards and I have Tyrese Martin. I just have to play Giannis because of all the salary.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the problem is you can only play one of those guys on FanDuel. One of those value centers. That's the only problem. But yeah, you can definitely play Giannis tonight. I'm not too worried about the minutes here. I mean, he put up 62 fantasy points in 28 minutes. I mean, he could definitely get there in like 30 minutes tonight. So I'm not too worried about it. I would prefer playing Pascal Siakam and or Jimmy Butler. But it's definitely it's fine to play Giannis if you want to. Again, not crazy about much value here outside of Isaiah Stewart or Noah Clowney. Jarris Walker, I think, takes a little bit of a hit now. So I don't necessarily love him now. I would prefer just playing Stewart or Clowney here in terms of the value range.
Will, how about you? Who do you like at power forward?
I don't mind Stewart. I don't mind Draymond. He's 5,700 on FanDuel, so don't mind him. If you decide you want to get Butler at power forward, you can do that as well. I'm with you guys on Clowney, Walker. I think they're fine. Totally with you on Siakam if you want to spend up. Man, is Bam Adebayo ever going to just put up big numbers again consistently? I don't know, but I don't think I'm playing him tonight for what it's worth. Those handful of guys that I mentioned, I feel like are kind of some of my favorites on FanDuel. So Draymond Stewart, Peyton Watson, obviously, don't mind him. Noah Clowney, obviously. Once again, these are all guys that I think you can plug in and feel good about your lineups.
All right, take me to the center position.
So, are we playing Jay Huff? Are we playing Nick Richards? Like, what do we want to do? Are we playing JV? At this point, I'm probably not playing JV. I'm probably playing one of Huff or Richards and building out. Like, at this point, I can play Booker, Butler, and a Siakam and be fine. Like, I can do that comfortably with how this whole slate is shaking out. So, I think I'm going to end up on one of Huff or Richards right now. In my heart, I feel like it's Richards because I get a little bit more wiggle room, but that's where I am.
Tim, how about you? In from a cash game setting and then in tournaments as well. Say we get Jokic out, you going Richards or you going JV on FanDuel?
I still think that you're going to be going J-Val on FanDuel. That's the only reason why I can't play Huff. I love Huff tonight. I think he's fantastic. If you want to play him in GPPs, that's okay. But I think that really I'm going to be holding off my center spot for either Joe Val or Nick Richards. And I think the priority is obviously Joe Val, but it's really, really close. But I mean, Huff is fine for GPPs. But really, it's looking like you're spending down at center tonight. And if you do want to spend up, I think Vucevic at 7,400 is okay. Zubac at 7,400 is also fine. But really, I think you're spending down tonight. The spend down options at center are very, very strong. It allows you to pay up for some of the other pieces that we like tonight. So center is not like fantastic. So I think spending down makes a ton of sense.
Agreed there, 100%. We still don't have the Jokic news. We still don't have the Trey Murphy news. And then we are also waiting on Grayson Allen and who was the other guy? There was one other guy that was questionable still, Jordan Goodwin. Grayson Allen and Jordan Goodwin both still questionable for Phoenix. So keep that in mind. Be ready to swap. Obviously, the big one is Nikola Jokic. First question we may as well hit from I am Steve O in chat. Tim, if Jokic plays, are you going to get to him?
I'm not playing him in single entry or in cash games, but I mean, I'm never going to tell you that you can't play him. I mean, I think he averages like 1.8 fantasy points per minute. So, I mean, yes, you can always play him. He's just priced really high tonight. So I don't love him.
And that's kind of how I'm feeling there as well. Let me just get my MME build in here. And then all I'll have to worry about is cash games. We can easily take some questions here. Lots of time here. We still have about 10 minutes left to lock. And then we will get out of here. And bang. There we go. Sorry about that, everybody. Ready to rock now. Drop the screen share here. Going to the RotoGrinders live stream Discord first. Going to the YouTube chat second. YouTube, make sure you are smashing that like button for us. FanDuel GPP, Will, you want Trey Jones or TJ McConnell as a cheap point guard today?
Give me Trey Jones.
FanDuel GPP, Tim, one bullet to win it all. Who is your favorite spend up and your favorite value?
On which site?
FanDuel.
Tyrese Martin and it's not really. I guess I just go Tyrese Martin and Kate Cunningham.
All right, Will, if you were going to game stack a game on FanDuel, which would you be rolling with?
As of right now, would actually be Pelicans Warriors.
I like it. I think for me, it would be that last one just because of all the news we're waiting on with Denver and Phoenix, or it would be the first one with Chicago and Indiana. Wish that game started a little bit later so I didn't have to lock in so many guys from that first game because it's just real beautiful. DK GPPs, Tim, McConnell or Duncan Robinson? Not a name I considered today, if I'm being honest.
Well, it's Duncan Robinson revenge tonight. So,
yeah.
Yeah, I still think it's TJ McConnell.
All right, getting to the next one. FanDuel GPP, Will, you want Cooper Flag or Benedict Mathurin?
Benedict Mathurin.
All right, next one. DK GPP, AJ Green and Siakam. Not playing AJ Green today, guys. That's not needed. We got so much value. Or Mathurin and Draymond, Tim.
Mathurin and Draymond.
FanDuel Cash, Mathurin, Nemhard, or another shooting guard for 7,200 or less, Tim.
I think you got to play Mathurin in cash.
Yeah, Mathurin, very strong cash play today. Is Jarris Walker still GPP viable now that he is not in the starting lineup, Will?
I think so.
Good, like Derek pointing out that Lineup HQ does still have Jarris Walker listed as the starter. It's Shepard, but I think that's a mistake because if you look at projections, they did bump down Jarris Walker's projections after that, and Shepard's went up. So I think that is just they forgot to switch the little check mark beside their names on that one. DK single entry. Will, you want Tyrese Martin and Siakam or Mathurin and Clowney?
Mathurin Clowney.
I am not liking this lineup that I'm end up getting in cash here, Tim. I don't really want an Andrew Nemhard in cash. Am I playing him in cash, Tim?
I don't think so. I was kind of getting to him earlier too, but I just want to keep spots open to swap onto Jamal Murray. So I'm not taking up a guard spot like that.
Here, I think is actually the best question, Tim, for what we should be doing in cash today, since we are waiting on this Jokic news. There's one game that starts at 6:30 or at 7:30. The rest are a little bit later. What players from this first game are you getting to?
I think Mathurin makes a ton of sense. He's the guy that I'm currently get to. I think J Huff on DK you can get to. I'm not doing that on FanDuel because he's center only on FanDuel. Mathurin, I think that's it. You can play Siakam, but I'm just doing Mathurin.
All right, I like it. I gotta make sure I actually get that in there. What do you think about playing Huff and Nick Richards together in the same lineup, Will?
I don't mind it, especially if you're spending up to get Cade, Jimmy, any of those bigger spins, Siakam, whoever, Tyler Hero, even. Like if you're spending, getting up to that 8-9K range, 10K range, I'm perfectly fine with it.
All right. Tim, doesn't say the site, but you want Siakam and Pods or Harden and Watson? Oh, Harden, so it's got to be FanDuel.
Siakam and Pods and what was the other one?
Or Harden and Watson.
Oh, that's tough. I think it's the first one, but that's a really good 2v2.
Trace Jackson Davis ruled out. I don't think we really care too much about that. What are your thoughts on Kevin Porter, FanDuel GPP? No.
No.
FanDuel, Will, you want Cameron Johnson, Peyton Watson, or Draymond Green?
If we think Jokic is out, Watson, but you should be able to swap. Leave room because you can get Green or Watson. They're $100 apart. Give me Watson straight up right now, but I'm perfectly fine with Draymond Green.
All right, I like it. What about there? Whatever. Just gonna save a lineup that will absolutely not be my lineup with taking your advice, Tim. I got Mathurin in that first game. Nobody else. That's it. That's all that I'm going with in that first one. Is Jarris Walker still viable for GPPs? Yes, absolutely. Keep on scrolling here. Giannis and Cade or Alvarado and Giannis? FanDuel GPP, Will?
That doesn't make any sense. Giannis and Cade.
Oh, sorry. Draymond and Cade or Alvarado Giannis? I read Giannis.
Oh, okay. All right. Give me Draymond and Cade because, Giannis, I'm expecting him to still have some form of a limit. And if he doesn't overperform, I think Cade is going to outperform him dramatically.
Is Nick Richards a must in DK cash, Tim?
I don't know about a must, just because I still prefer J-Val if Jokic sits. So it's I don't think he's a must, but yeah, I mean he's a super strong play. So yeah, I mean he's a strong play right now for sure. You could put him in there with confidence right now in your cash game lineup, but I would still prioritize Valanciunas over him.
Jokic, Jokic, Stewart, or Cam Johnson? If no Jokic, would you want Isaiah Stewart or Cam Johnson, Will?
Probably Cam.
Tim, with all this value that has opened up, would you still say Ryan Nembhard is a priority cash game play on FanDuel?
I mean, he's certainly taken a bit of a hit. I still think he's a good play. I mean, he's still he's still in my lineup right now. Yeah.
How do we feel about the Steelers and Rodgers? Ask that tomorrow, because we'll have 3.5 straight hours of football content leading you all the way up to lock. DK GPP, $4,400 or less. Who do you got? Everybody, go. This is for all of us. Whoever can get something first. Basically, the question is, do you play Jarris Walker or a J Huff? Or do you hold off, hope Trey Murphy is out, and roll with a Jose Alvarado?
I was just gonna say I would do Jose Alvarado right there.
I think so too. He's fine as is, like totally viable as is. But then if Trey Murphy happens to be out, he all of a sudden is significantly nicer than those guys. So I'm with you there. I like that quite a bit. Was tempted to just fade this first game in my main lineup today, but I just like it too much. I'm going to keep Mathurin in there. That's the toughest thing on the slate. Geez, I was really hoping we'd get this Jokic news before lock, but it doesn't look like we will. So stay vigilant, everyone. We are still waiting for Trey Murphy. We are still waiting for Nikola Jokic. Those are the two biggest pieces of news on the slate. Jokic, obviously huge, but the Murphy thing, pretty big as well. And so late swap is going to be really, really important today. The lineup you throw out right now, probably not necessarily the lineup that you're going to want to be going with 30 minutes, 45 minutes from now. So stay on the news and make sure you are ready to swap around your lineup. Tim, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Nope, that's a double show for me tomorrow. So can't wait for NFL. Pretty excited to break it down with you, TJ.
Can't wait. Excited to have you on, Chief. How about you? Any final thoughts?
Just keep some swaps open. I wouldn't lock anything up too much early outside of your must plays.
Karis LeVert listed out for Detroit today with the value that has since opened up. I don't think it matters. But when I saw that Q tag before, I was thinking maybe I want to keep Jaden Ivey in my pool for that situation. But I don't think it's necessary anymore now that we have all of this value that has opened up since we started the show. That'll do it. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. Stay tuned for more football content tomorrow morning, bright and early, starting at 9:30 Eastern Time, 6:30 Pacific. On behalf of myself, Tim, and Will, we will see you next time. Peace. Accidentally hit the wrong button, so we are still here, but I'm ending the stream now. Bye, everybody.